Hi, I'm Dane reporting from Johnson News. Today we will be discussing events occurring in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe consists of Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Serbia, Albania, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Slovenia, Croatia, Macedonia, and Bosnia. Recently, Europe has been involved in several national problems including Greek debt, the gas crisis, and significant problems with European trade.
Here's some background information. Poland has a population of about 38 million people. Poland has a land area of 312,685 square kilometers. Poland's GDP per capita is 13,540. And Poland holds the world's fifth largest proven reserves of hard and brown coal in addition to deposits of copper, silver, zinc, lead, silver, as well as magnesium and rock salt. The Czech Republic has a population of about 10 million people. The Czech Republic has a land area of 78,866 square kilometers. The Czech Republic's GDP per capita is 20,444, and the Czech Republic is the #1 beer brewing nation in the world. Slovakia has a population of about 5.5 million people. Slovakia has a land area of 49,034 square kilometers. Slovakia's GDP per capita is 17,644, and the hill known as Krhul near the town Kremenica, Slovakia, is the geographical center of Europe. Slovenia has a population of about 2 million people. Slovenia has a land area of 20,273 square kilometers. Slovenia's GDP per capita is 24,533. Hungary has a population of about 10 million people. Hungary has a land area of about 92,966 square kilometers, and Hungary's GDP per capita is 14,050. 45 of the top 50 multinational companies are present in Hungary. Romania has a population of about 22 million people. Romania has a land area of 238,391 square kilometers. Romania's GDP per capita is 8,863, and Romania is #4 in the top 10 of countries with the highest growth rate in tourism development. Constanta Port, located on the Romanian Black Sea coast, is the second largest port in Europe. Bulgaria has a population of about 7 million people. Bulgaria has a land area of 110,994 square kilometers. Bulgaria's GDP per capita is 7,202. Greece has a population of about 11 million people. Greece has a land area of 131,957 square kilometers. Greece's GDP per capita is 27,073. Greece has the largest merchant fleet in the world. Serbia has a population of about 7 million people. Serbia has a land area of 77,474 square kilometers. Serbia's GDP per capita is 6,081. Albania has a population of about 3 million people. Albania has a land area of 28,748 square kilometers. Albania's GDP per capita is 3,992. Croatia has a population of about 4.5 million people. Croatia has a land area of 56,542 square kilometers. Croatia's GDP per capita is 14,457. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia has a population of about 5 million people. Bosnia has a land area of 51,129 square kilometers. Bosnia's GDP per capita is 4,618. And lastly, Macedonia has a population of about 2 million people. Macedonia has a land area of 25,433 square kilometers, and Macedonia's GDP per capita is 5,016.
Today, I had the opportunity to talk with some local experts on these exact problems. Over the next 10 minutes, we will hear from our national representatives Mike Sue, Jordan Webster, and Ryan Jones. We will start off by hearing thoughts of Ryan Jones regarding the Chinese-European trade issue. So how does Poland want to improve trade with China?
China is an upcoming world power, and it isn't surprised that Poland wants to be on a good side with China. Poland and China are both starting with banking and will continue increasing their friendship with each other. Poland hopes to grant some benefits from China, in which they will later be able to rely on them if needed so. The Chinese also feel like there's some good investment deals to be done in Poland and are a good deal to make with the Polish. Both parties would benefit from this because it would help out the Polish economy and also let China spend some money in Poland, which will increase their currency.
So what have you heard about Wen Jiabao's visit to Poland?
Well, I know Mr. Wen's visit to Poland was the first by a Chinese Prime Minister since 1987. He met with the Polish Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, and leaders of 15 other countries from the region to pledge China's support for economic development in the area.
So how was Wen's tour of Europe?
Well, he began his tour in Iceland and visited Germany and Sweden before arriving in Poland, the final stop on his European tour. China is already investing in the production of chemicals, electronics, and other products in the region, which is attractive because the labor costs are lower than those in Western Europe.
Over the years, Greece has built a reputation of having a strong economy and influential government. Recently, Greece has switched its national currency from drachma to euro, which threw off the traditionally strong nation. Greece is now struggling to get out of foreign debt. What happened was, Greek businesses refused to pay taxes. When nobody pays taxes, it limits revenue. Athens turned to European banks for loans, and eventually Athens ended up borrowing billions of dollars. Many of these debts were turned into packages called complex commodities, and are being sold to other countries around the world.
European banks are cutting Greece some slack and offering them a deal where they agreed to only collect 50% of the money Greece owes them. In exchange for this proposal, Greece must impose what is now known by the public as crushing austerity, which forces Greece to cut out many of their bad investments, including no more early retirement, reduced salary of public workers, large funding cuts to social programs, and staggered repayment of the new debt amount.
If they accept, much of Greece's incoming trade will cease, namely from Japan and America, because these two countries are responsible for the majority of Greece's importations. It would also mean that countries like Spain, Portugal, and Ireland would be able to take a big step forward in their trading abilities, simply because Greece would no longer be in the competition. Accepting this proposal would also mean that Greece would most likely return to the drachma to avoid further troubles. It would also mean that many employees would be out of a job. Riots would most likely be very common for months on end, possibly to the point of murder and destruction.
Eastern Europe has had a gas crisis like much of the rest of the world. Over the last decade, Eastern European countries have had difficulties getting their gas supplies for their people. The relationship with Russia has been a central problem, with disputes over contracts and the fact that Russia takes care of its own population before exporting any oil to the rest of Eastern Europe. In many instances, this has left Eastern Europe almost hostile to the whims of Russia.
So, do you know anything about the European and China trade?
Well, yes.
What is that?
Well, you see, ever since China has become communist, the GNP has increased substantially over the years. It's gone from about 15% to 20%, 25%, but that's just like the last 30 years. Anything you want to know? Just anything I know?
Thank you.
Alright.
Well, this has been our day with Johnson News. We've talked about many of Europe's economic and government problems. To recap, Russian pipelines have created a gas crisis in Poland, which affects countless Polish families and businesses. After Greece entered into severe debt with the EU offered a deal to Greece, which many Greek citizens do not agree with. And finally, the Chinese Prime Minister took a tour of Europe, which ultimately determined future European trade. Europe is currently in big trouble with other world powers. If we are careful, this won't happen to us. I believe that if we take the time to understand the past, it will help us to determine the future, learn from Europe's mistakes, and help keep our nation successful.